What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about all of the best Week 3 games, ranking from upset of Clemson at Georgia Tech all the way to Georgia versus Tennessee. What a game. Make sure to hit that noti bell so you can check back in and subscribe so you know when all of my newest videos drop. Let's start this video off talking about the game of the weekend by far. Possibly the game of the year. For sure the game of the year so far. We're talking about, you know it, Georgia at Tennessee. This game, fireworks in the first quarter, 21-7, Tennessee's up. That first drive, 2.5-minute drive, 6 plays, touchdown Tennessee. They ran tempo. Next drive, Georgia. They stormed down the field, 2.5-minute drive. They scored a touchdown. This game was way more electric than I was expecting to start with. But in that second quarter, things kind of died down a little bit. Georgia then took control. They played a little bit more of their football after the tempo died down. Third quarter did the same thing. And then the fourth quarter reignited the spark, and we got first quarter type of action in that fourth quarter. What a game we got today. That was beautiful. I'm going to start with what I really liked from Georgia. I really liked the way that Georgia responded. That first quarter, they got beat. Tennessee played their brand of football, and it beat Georgia. In that second and third quarter, Georgia got the game back to Georgia brand of football. Let's run the football. Let's pound the football. Let's chew the clock. Let's beat you with our defense. Let's become more physical than you, not faster than you. They played Georgia football. They out-Georgia'd Tennessee. Whereas in the first and fourth quarter, Tennessee out-Georgia'd Georgia. So I think that Georgia had a lot of good things to look at in that second and third quarter, which set them up for a good fourth quarter. That fourth quarter was crazy. Other things I really liked from Georgia where Gunnar Stockton looked great. I had a lot of questions about Gunnar Stockton coming into this game of, is he going to really be able to be that championship level quarterback for the Bulldogs? And he showed me and all of America today, he is that guy. He uses legs effectively. He wasn't looking to run, but he ran when he had to and did it effectively. He had his eyes downfield. And one of the big things I talked about in my preview, you can go check it out on the channel, I thought Tennessee was going to play a safety in the box and make Gunnar Stockton show his arm. Mike Bobo, first play of the game, said, you know what? Let's grab that and let's shred it to pieces. We're going to throw the football deep on the first play. Gunnar Stockton showed off his arm and completed the pass, which I think opened up this game for Georgia a lot more because now if that safeties aren't stacking the box, they have the run game, which is what Georgia effectively and wants to do, and they were able to do it more. Now let's talk about things I really liked from Tennessee. They started the game off playing Tennessee football. That first drive was tempo, tempo, tempo. They got flags because Georgia couldn't substitute fast enough. I think I saw a stat on the TV, less than 30 seconds real time in between snaps. That was insane. They had the ball move down the field, 6 plays, 2.5 minutes, touchdown opening drive. That doesn't happen against Georgia. Georgia does not allow that, typically. This Georgia defense was not a defense we see. We don't see them get behind in games like this. Today, Tennessee did that. This game had so many up and downs, all game. I feel like the win probability on ESPN had to have been like 90-10, 90-10. This game was full of those kinds of emotions, yet Georgia was able to pull it out. Tennessee, I thought, had a lot of chances to just put the dogs away. First quarter up 21-7, you got to come out way better than they did in the second quarter. They came out so flat and so un-Tennessee brand of football. It's like Georgia made Tennessee play Georgia football instead of Tennessee playing Tennessee football. And I think that's really what bit Tennessee in the butt there was they went away from their brand of football, which was working. They scored 21 points in the first quarter, and they stopped doing it. And I think that was the moment when they truly lost this football game. The score didn't reflect it, but I think that's the moment when Georgia was like, all right, we have control of this football game. Let's go get it. Granted, Tennessee, they kept fighting. Tennessee never gave up. Joey Aguilar showed why he's better than Nico. Nico left. Everyone, I think, in the country, including me, thought Tennessee is going to be worse. They're unequivocally better right now. You look at Nico at UCLA, he's worse than Joey Aguilar is in the system. Joey Aguilar is able to take the deep shots down the field, which Nico wasn't able to do effectively. They don't have the run game they had last year, but they don't need it because they actually have a quarterback who can throw the football deep. My one knock on Joey Aguilar was he going to become that turnover machine like he was at Appalachian State? And then today, he had 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions that were costly and essentially cost Tennessee the football game. He has to fix those. If he's going to do this against SEC competition every week, they're going to lose a lot of football games. I think he'll clean it up, and I think Josh Heupel will give him an offense that is easier to clean it up. But if he falls into this many turnovers again, it could get really, really sloppy for this Tennessee team. Tennessee looked great, though. There's a lot to take away from this game, even though you lost. It's all about wins and losses at the end of the day. But you can still take away the positives because you have nothing else to do. And they had a lot of positives this game. Chris Brazell looked phenomenal. I mean, some of the plays was like Joey Aguilar was like, F it, he's down there somewhere. Like Randy Moss type of. At the end of the day, Georgia came back and played Georgia brand of football to beat Tennessee at home in a tough environment with a young quarterback. Georgia wanted it more. They did the small things that matter to win the football game. And that's my take on this game. I think it's going to go down as probably the game of the year. Every game, now we're going to be expecting this, and they're never going to live up to the hype. We got overtime. We got big plays. We had touchdowns and 2.5-minute drives. This game delivered. Now, let's see if Georgia and Tennessee can continue their paths upward in the SEC this season. Next up, I want to talk about Georgia Tech upsetting Clemson. Can we really call it an upset? With how Clemson has looked this season, is them losing surprising? Were we surprised as college football viewers this weekend? We watched Clemson struggle mightily against LSU. We watched Clemson struggle against Troy. Was it surprising for us to watch them struggle against a Georgia Tech team who's much better? I don't think so. I talked about, in my last prediction, I think Georgia Tech would win this football game. They, with Haynes King as a player he might be the toughest quarterback in the entire country. He is that tough, and he's that willing to go fight for an extra yard. And ultimately, that's what you want out of your quarterback who runs like him, and he's going to go out and deliver. Brent Key has himself a team this year. If they can work on that secondary a little bit and not give up 75-yard touchdowns like they did to Brant Wesco, this team could win the ACC. And I'm not even joking. Right now, I don't know if Clemson can win the ACC. It's looking like Florida State and Miami are the top dogs, and then the second tier is Georgia Tech's. And right now, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable putting Clemson in the second tier with how sloppy and Dabo Swinney Clemson team they look this season. Dabo Swinney's going to have to figure it out. On the other hand, Brent Key has it figured out. They have this team figured out, and they're going to go places in this season. Next up, I want to talk about OU at Temple for my Sooner fans watching and for myself. Mateer looked as advertised. You know, there was a lot of talk coming into this game in the national media for some reason about, is Oklahoma going to get caught off guard? Are the emotions? Kirk Herbstreit said on College Game Day he thought it was going to be 17-17 in the third quarter. All I'm going to say is, Kirk, eat your words, man. It just wasn't. This Oklahoma team is legit this year. I don't think a lot of people are seeing that. John Mateer is a legit Heisman contender. We saw him get his first explosive run of the season today with that 51-yard touchdown. That was beautiful. I think the other thing is we really tried to establish a run game. Torrey Blaylock was our first 100-yard rusher of the season. I think he eclipsed exactly 100 yards, but he looks good. For a dude who came out of high school with that track speed and more of a speedster running back, the dude's not afraid to lower a shoulder. He has a shoulder brace on, but that doesn't stop him from lowering his shoulder and hitting you. He seeks the contact. He's not going out of bounds to avoid it. He wants to stay in bounds and hit you. He wants to hit you. Another thing, this is a developing story, R. Mason Thomas. Targeting call, it looked very similar to Jayshon Barham's for Michigan against Oklahoma. Brent Venables said he's going to appeal it. But if it gets upheld, our best edge rusher is going to be out in the first half against Auburn, which I think is huge because R. Mason Thomas is a speed rusher. Jackson Arnold likes to rush the ball. R. Mason Thomas has the speed to go get him on the edge. If we're lacking R. Mason Thomas in the first half of that game, that could be a huge factor in what the game plan is for Auburn going into this football game. On the other hand, the defense, immaculate. Those 3 points we allowed in the first half of that football game were the first points we allowed in the first half all season. Now, granted, we played Temple and we played an FCS school, but we also played Michigan. We've allowed 3 points in the first half all year in 6 quarters. That's phenomenal. In total today, our defense allowed 104 total yards. That's some stellar defense. I truly believe this is the best team Brent Venables has had at his tenure at Oklahoma. And that's saying a lot because he had good teams with Dylan Gabriel, Nick Anderson. 2023, we won the Red River, made it to a big bowl game. This team can go places. Now it's down to SEC play. Can we execute what we have? We have the team. Can we execute it and go get the wins that matter? Next up, let's talk about a really electric and really fun football game to start off the 6 o'clock slate. Talking about Arkansas at Ole Miss, at the Grove. What a fun game. Talon Green really showed why he's a Heisman candidate right now. He looked like it. He had 300 yards passing, another 100 on the ground, a rushing touchdown. He looked great. The only thing I would say is you got to clean up the very interceptable balls. Yes, he threw one in the end zone and got called back for a penalty, but he throws some passes that makes you question sometimes. He has the talent. Kind of reminds me of Garrett Nussmeier last year. You're great. But why did you throw that one? Other than that, he looked great. Mike Washington, running back. I mean, he is running back 1, but he played himself into that role. He didn't start the season as running back 1. He started as running back 2. He was the backup. And they have a running back who's supposed to be that true bell cow, and now it turned into a 2 running back system. I think Mike Washington should be that true bell cow now. He is that good. He's played himself into that. Another thing for Arkansas is we didn't really know about their defense yet. They hadn't played any quality opponents. Now they have. They're going to have to clean that defense up. 41 points against a very good football team. On offense, with a backup quarterback, that's not going to fly. Because what happens when you play a team like LSU or those Bamas of the world or the Oklahomas? Those teams are going to be able to put up more points with their starting quarterback and a fully healthy roster. Another thing, end of the game drive, you can't fumble the football there. That is a fumble the football twice throughout the rest of the game, and it's better than fumbling the football on the last drive. You just can't allow that to happen. But I would say the offense, I think they scored enough points to win this football game. 38 points. If your team ever scores 35 points, that should be enough to win the football game. It wasn't today. They played a team that had more firepower and more offense, and Lane Kiffin had those boys ready. I think the biggest question for Ole Miss really out of this game is who's the quarterback? We all thought all offseason, it's Austin Simmons, for sure. Now Trinidad Chambliss comes in, and he looks like that? If that's who that guy is, I don't know how you don't start him in the future. Austin Simmons looked good, but guess what? Chambliss didn't throw 2 interceptions in the first quarter. We watched Austin Simmons do that twice against way worse opponents. So it's going to be a developing story is who's that quarterback. This dude transferred from Division II football last year at Ferris State, and he just led Ole Miss to a very quality, high-scoring win, and possibly the new starter at Ole Miss. What a journey. Overall in this game, the defenses, they sat their butts on the couch and watched from home is what it seemed like. It seemed like they were sitting with me on the couch watching this football game, because I didn't see them out there until the end of the game, and this first half, they weren't there. Second half, they kind of showed up a little bit more. But the defenses for both teams are going to have to be better to be successful in the SEC this season. Both teams, I thought, looked great. They have offensive coordinators and offensive game plans and offensive weapons to get far. It's just going to come down to, can those defenses work with those offenses to create a cohesive unit of a football team together to win football games? Next up, I think we got to talk about Florida at LSU. DJ Lagway. DJ Lagway was the man saving Billy Napier's job. If that's what the guy who saves your coach's job looks like, then it's time to get him out of here. Because I trust in DJ Lagway. I think he'll be better. I think that was probably his worst performance he'll ever have as a college or NFL quarterback. But that was horrible. There was so many passes DJ Lagway threw up that just weren't good passes. 5 interceptions. 5. No quarterback in this country is going to go into Death Valley at a night game in the Bayou, throw 5 interceptions, and walk out with a win. The crazy thing is, you threw 5 interceptions, and you only gave up 20 points. Your defense gave you a chance in this football game. Your defense only allowed 20 off of 5 turnovers, and all the other times they had the football, they only allowed 20 points, and you couldn't do anything with them. You scored 10. Now, you had a touchdown taken back in the beginning by more penalties. What did I talk about in my preview? Go check that out. I talked about way too many penalties for this Florida team, or what shoots themselves in the foot and makes them lose football games. They did it again tonight. They continue to do it. Billy Napier can't clean those up, and he can't make Lagway look better as DJ Lagway's play caller. I do not think Billy Napier finishes the season. I didn't think he was last time. Next week is going to be a big test for them as College Game Day's headed to Miami for the Florida Gators at the Miami Hurricane. If he can't put together a competent effort to win that football game, I think he gets fired after that game. I don't know how you can bring him back with what they look like right now. LSU started the game slow. You did. You started the game slow, but you picked it up. You got it working. Somehow 20 points is all it needed to win, but you did what you needed to do. You didn't have to be flashy. You didn't have to go crazy. You just did what was needed to win the football game. In the SEC, that's all it takes. It's all about the wins and losses, man, not how you did it. If you won 3-0, you won the football game. You got a 1, you got a 0 in the loss column. That's what matters. LSU did that. Blake Baker has himself a defense this season. Brian Kelly has a defense. The offense doesn't look on to par as what we've seen in the last few years with players like Jaden Daniels and last year's Garrett Nussmeier throwing 4,000 yards. It doesn't look like that yet, but there's a lot of season left. But right now, this defense looks legit. All those transfers and those experienced senior 4-year transfers they brought in, it's working. With how well it's worked for LSU, do we think this builds a blueprint for what other teams are going to try to do in the future? Are you going to see other teams try to go get 4 to 5 to 6 experienced senior 5th-year college players out of the portal and bring them onto a team and make them cohesive? Because right now, that is what LSU did, and it is working wonders. My biggest question is It's not taking anything away from LSU, but they beat a Clemson team who looks nothing like what we all deem them to be. They beat a Florida team who looks nothing like what we deem them to be. They beat Clemson by 7, Florida by 10. When is the first time we get to see this LSU team against a team that we have seen prove how good they are? Because right now, Clemson hasn't. They've only proven that they're not as good as we thought they were. Florida has only proven that they're not as good as we thought they were. Next up, their next big game is South Carolina. They've proven that they're not what we thought they were. The first team on their schedule that has proven that is Texas A&M. Which, speaking of that, let's get into the Texas A&M Aggies at Notre Dame. Notre Dame came out and they ran the football. I preached this in my videos talking about Notre Dame. Run the football. You have one of the best running back duos, in my opinion, the best running back in the country, with Jeremiah Love, and you finally ran him today. Hit 25 plus carries. That's what I said. Give him 30 plus carries. Give him to him. He had 2 touchdowns. One insane one-handed snag for a receiving touchdown. He can do it all. He is the best running back in the country. In my opinion, I will die on that hill. Your quarterback looks good. CJ Carr looks good. But at the end of the day, because your holder misplayed a snap, didn't run the football in game 1 against Miami, you're 0-2. 0-2. Which means right now, if you want a chance to win a national championship and make the college football playoffs, you have 0 margin for error. Can't lose a game. All those last year, you lost to teams like NIU. You can't do that. You're going to have to go blow them out by 50, 60 to show this committee that you're truly a good football team. Because right now, you have 2 losses against 2 good teams. No one thinks you're good because you can't beat good teams right now. You should not be ranked in the top 20 next week. I think you're going to be in between the 20 and 25 because you're Notre Dame. I think the AP voters will give you that credit. But you're 0-2. You shouldn't be ranked. I don't think you should be ranked. Going to A&M, that wide receiver room is nasty. Carver, he might be a top 5 wide receiver in the SEC this season. 207 yards, a touchdown. I mean, I don't know what else you can ask for from a star wide receiver. Next to Casey's Concepcion, who had 80 receiving yards and a touchdown in one play where Marcel Reed just said, screw it, he's down there. I'm going to throw it up. And guess what? Big body, 6'5", Casey Concepcion came down with it and caught the touchdown. That wide receiver room is nasty. This A&M team truly has an offense that can go hand in hand with anybody in the country this year. Marcel Reed showed it. He can use his arms. He can use his legs very effectively. He can combine them, get the run, spread the defense out, make them question what he's going to do, and it opens up so much for this A&M team. Can the defense be better? You allowed way too many points to a Notre Dame team who, quite frankly, didn't look that good last time against Miami, and we all talked about how Miami doesn't have a great defense. I think one thing you really need to work on is that defense and that defensive physicality, get them ready for SEC play. You gave yourself a good test. You beat them. Now go prove to us that you're a good SEC contender. Last season, they played Texas for a chance to win that game to make the SEC championship. They have a team that can do the same thing this season. All they have to do is finish the product, put the two together, and the rest is in front of them. All they have to do is go and take it. Those are my takes on this week's game. Make sure you go check out all my videos on my channel. Make sure you hit the subscription button and hit the noti bell so you can get notified when all of my new videos go live. Thank y'all for tuning in. Boomer.